Okay, what do you guys want to start off with?
Let's start off with the Raw review.
All right. I did watch Raw. Yes, I did.
Okay, let's categorically go over the things I want to talk about here. We'll just go through it real quick because it's going to be like I'm looking at as I'm doing this. This is what I do every week now on the show. As I watch it, I've got Jason Powell's Raw review on ProWrestling.net, and it's actually pretty comprehensive. It's the best one around. Like if you want to read a Raw review, he puts as much information as you know. It's a decent read. I mean, it doesn't take you 2 seconds to read it, but it's like it tells you everything that went on. Okay.
Right.
Opening segment, I'm fine with it. Okay. What's the first thing I want to get to here?
Highly recommend Jason Powell.
Okay. So Drew McIntyre and Corbin Lashley, like, I guess they had this match against Braun, Finn, and Kurt. They beat him and then beat him up.
Right.
That's all right. Whatever. You know. Okay. Here's what I want to talk about.
Okay, that's a match. Let me tell you. Did you watch Raw, Joe?
I watched some of the highlights. Yeah. I didn't
watch some of the highlights. Okay, so if you want to chime in, I just felt like when I looked at this match, 3 against 3, it meant absolutely nothing to me. I wasn't invested in it. I didn't care.
Well, if you look at what they're doing, this is where they had. This is how you book. Jarrett used to do this a lot, and I'm not a big fan of it. This is where Jeff and Vince used to butt heads and create. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. This is where Vince and Jeff used to butt heads and creative. It's like they have a match booked, and you write the stories going backwards, like you fill in the pieces to try to get to the match. Because you want to see the match, right? And then Vince was always like, "No, I'm just going to write stories, and we'll get the matches out of the stories, you know, and say whatever."
Right.
Okay. So they obviously have a match. The Shield versus. It's like they want to do the Shield versus Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, and Lashley.
Right.
So like all the booking of this was backwards. Okay, how do we make this match important? Right. So it's like, okay, let's give them a win over Braun and those guys. Then we'll have them come out, and then they figure out the angle, you know, the whole angle where they come out where Dean loses, they come out and interview him, Dean walks away, so the heels come out to beat him down, and then do the reunion. Okay, so now we have the match. Okay. Right. So it's like, you know, it's like in retrospect, the booking's fine, but the booking is very, very, very simplistic. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, we got the Shield versus these guys. We need to get them a win. Sorry, who can they beat? Okay, we'll beat these guys. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, it's like you said, the match means nothing. And honestly,
I also think
it still doesn't really mean anything.
Right, and here's the other thing that I have problems with. So, you know, perception is everything. So when you bring in somebody like Lashley, that if you would have brought him in the right way, he could probably have a great match with somebody in WrestleMania, right? Mm-hmm. So you had him doing all this hokey bullshit with Elias and with fucking Leo Rush and his sisters and the posing and the showing of the ass, where he kind of came off as a J-bro. So now all of a sudden they're trying to, you know, in 1 or 2 weeks trying to reconstruct him. Corbin has meant absolutely nothing. I mean, he's been used as the excuse of why Raw had bad ratings. His matches aren't that good. He's kind of JoJo. Stephanie's always dressing him down. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's really like the only heel there to me that really means anything that they've done a decent job with is Drew. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm tired of the Shield breaking up, getting back together, one guy leaves. Well, I'm tired of that whole shit. I'm like, they don't mean anything to me anymore. They just don't. And so that's where I'm not invested in this. Let me tell you the 2 things that that I thought were way more important than that. Number 1, I thought the Hunter promo was good on Dave Bautista. And I like the way he made fun of Dave for having a weak promo. Oh, Philly, you suck and all that. I thought that was different and it was good. So now Dave is going to have to bring it, and I think he will. And so I you know, we're going to have some classic promos out of those 2 guys. And then to me, the biggest thing was, did Ronda Rousey just turn heel? What was that?
Yeah,
she had a complete
bro, let me tell you,
meltdown.
This is something that they did, okay? And I liked it.
Right.
Okay? So they do the spot earlier in the show where basically the guy calls wrestling fake, the Saturday Night Live guy.
Right.
And Braun grabs him and chokes him. So like they kind of threw it out there. You know what I'm saying? Like earlier in the show. Like this is something, you know, wow, I can't believe they did that, you know?
Right.
Then you break the wall down with the Ronda Rousey segment. She basically just says, F this. this shit's fake. I would kick. I'd break your face as if if this was real. Is basically what she was telling those two girls. You know what I'm saying? Like she got, and then went off on him. And I'm like, I had no problem with that at all because I think Ronda Rousey should be like that. Like should have been like that from the get-go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I've got this vision. Like, if I was, if you really want to go so far with this and like make them like they're real, like they blurred the lines here. And then here was the thing too, based on the social media. Well, Ronda and Becky had their exchange during the week. They had all that shit they talked.
Right.
The next time I see you, I thought Ronda was gonna hit the ring and go right at Becky.
Yeah,
right.
But she went in the ring and right to the mic, and I was like, that kind of lost me there. But what they did,
but she did beat her up pretty good.
Right?
Afterwards.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, embarrassed her.
Right.
Like grounded her and made her look
This
terrible.
is what I think. This is what I think.
Yeah, well, let me finish.
Yeah.
So I had this vision. Like if I was booking this show and I wanted to blur that line and everything, I would do a scene like next week because you got all these jabronis that they don't care about. Then you can tell by the way they do these things. I would have Brock and Ronda show up to the show together, kind of like they did. They get on the car and everything, and it'd be like the scene in Terminator where he goes into the police station. Right. And they just walk around and just start kicking the shit out of everybody.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And just like I'm saying, and just they walk like you walk into the arena, and all the wrestlers that they come across, they just pummel them and throw them to the walls, everything like the scene from the Terminator.
Yeah.
Until somebody like stands up, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how that was my vision when I saw Ronda do that. Like wow, they should do that next. But of course the critical thing is like that it should have been that way from day one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like she should literally walk in the ring.
That was very.
She should walk in the ring, kick shit, like fight people.
Here's the other thing that was weird. The other thing that was weird is like, Stephanie finally showed a little ass once because she just gave her the belt.
Right.
Oh, Stephanie would have been, why should I give you the belt? You're going to have to fight me, whatever. Yeah. She just gave her the fucking belt. But here's what I think should happen. I think, so the match in WrestleMania is them three, right?
It's going to be, yeah.
Yeah. So I think somehow, some way, Becky Lynch is about to beat Ronda Rousey. I mean, she has her beat for sure. And Charlotte does something so Rousey can beat her. And they put up the four, and they're the new four horsewomen. And you have two others, whether it's the chick.
And let me tell this from a critical point of view. I watched in the last segment. Could you tell, brother, that some time had been cut short and the thing went real long? Like they had that segment. It was they had way too much time to fill. Did you notice that? Not really. Well, they did because they went into the ring for that segment at 20 minutes before the show ended. I was looking at the times like, wow, this there's a contract signing? I'm like, this is going to be an awfully long – and the way it worked out, they got to the physicality, and it's like, shit, there was like still like 7 minutes left in the show. Yeah. I just thought – that she meant a beatdown. She stands tall, and that's it. But it's like they kept having to go back to it, and it was almost like – a little bit. Now that I think of it, it did go a little long, but I wasn't thinking that at the time because I was enjoying what I was seeing. I was enjoying Ronda Rousey embracing her inner heel, fucking going off on the fans, and almost kind of telling him, almost like The Rock did when he turned heel, I did my best for you and you still turned on me. Fuck you guys. That's basically what she said. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was great. That was great. That was good, great TV. You know what I'm saying? Well, they say Heyman works with her a lot on her stuff, too. And I agree with what D.I. said. I think you put Ronda and Brock together before WrestleMania. You put Paul out there with Ronda, finally, which is what supposedly the two of them have wanted to do. And I think, that'd be some fucking great TV to have Ronda with Paul. Ronda can cut a heel promo. Yeah. Let her cut heel promos. That's what she does best. Yeah. She was cutting heel promos when she was a face. Yeah, like UFC. She was out there smiling. Nice. She was a smiling mark. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like a smiling mark. Right. She was marking out. She was. Did you see that tweet? Show the backstage shit with her, and she'd be crying, and I can't believe I'm here. And she was marking out, which is cool because if you've watched it your whole life and you're finally there, how are you not going to mark out? And another thing, look at it this way. It's WrestleMania season. This is when we're supposed to be the most excited for what they're doing on their shows. But other than Batista and Hunter, which just started, and the Charlotte, Becky, Ronda match, is there any other matches you're even excited? Everything's flat. This is probably the worst, least exciting build for Mania in quite some time. But we saw this coming months ago. That they weren't. We've been saying this all along. You got. We were saying 4 or 5 months ago. Where's their match? What's the match at WrestleMania? And they didn't even come up with one. But this is what saying it's going to be Ronda and Charlotte. Ronda and Charlotte. Then Becky started getting over, and it's like, she's in the mix, but I'm not believing Becky Lynch against Ronda Rousey now. It's like I think that's Vince's FU to the fans too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Becky's getting over. Okay, let's bury her.
Right.
It's like, bro, seriously.
Right.
You know, okay, how do you bury her? Well, shit, we'll just let Ronda to just go out there and just shoot on her because she could. You know,
Right.
which is true. Right. So it's like maybe they're saying to themselves, you know what? Maybe Vince actually said this. I can't sell WrestleMania with Becky Lynch against Ronda Rousey. I can't sell that. It's too big of a card. It's too big of an event. Not enough people know who Becky Lynch is. You know what I'm saying? I need to be able to sell Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair because that was the original plan last year. You know what I'm saying? And I think maybe
Vince they didn't expect Becky to get hot. And
Becky,
now they have to include her because the fans will go nuts if they don't. And she's earned it. But, you know, like you said, this is a marquee matchup, and most people are going, Becky who? You know what I'm saying? If you're not a wrestling fan, you're wondering who the fuck is Becky Lynch.
They're not because the ratings are low and nobody's watching it, and like the WrestleMania crowd always just comes anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like they gather, you know, the people. There's people that probably don't even watch WWE, but they go to WrestleMania every year for their vacation. There's a percentage of people that do that, you know, and like they can't, you know, it's like I said, the original plans. I think they're saying stuff that's being stubborn, like they always are. The original plan all along has been Charlotte Ronda main eventing WrestleMania, and it's like they were getting away from that. It's like, how do we get back to that now? It's like we'll just let Ronda just kick the shit out of Becky. They'll squash her and just make her look bad and stuff. And which is what they did. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so maybe that's their plan, is to maybe get Becky out of that match, even though the fans are dying for it. Because, bro,
No, I don't think they'll get her out of that match.
Let me tell you why, Conan. Let me tell you why. They didn't have a problem with shoving Roman down people's throats in main events on WrestleMania, despite what the fans were saying.
Right. So
my whole thing is like they probably have no problem keeping Becky Lynch out of this match, regardless of what the fans are saying. You know what I'm saying? That could be a possibility.
I just think that, no. You've got a good point. That's a valid point. My point is, I think now more than ever, WWE knows that their fans, like we all know, they're not mainstream fans like in our era. They're more of a niche thing, and they don't want to piss those guys off. You know what I'm saying? And so they're like, you want Becky Lynch? We'll give you Becky Lynch. Right. That's what I think.